Attention please. This upload is only for educational purpose. No intention to infringe copyrights. Learning English with subtitles. GPITRAL. GPITRAL. Definitely a must-see. Follow us.
You're about to witness reenactments of real encounters with terrifying monsters.
Monsters soaring straight out of a nightmare.
There are a surprising number of accounts of these flying humanoids chasing cars at incredibly fast speeds.
After the accident and my brother was on his way to the hospital, I knew something horrible had tried to get us.
Imagine the terror of a Bigfoot with wings.
He saw his father being jerked to his feet and lifted into the air.
And I tell you, that was the spookiest thing I ever saw in my life.
I'm gonna go check it out.
Ambushed in the Pine Barrens by the Devil's Spawn.
I have never been so scared in my entire life. My heart was pounding. I couldn't breathe. It was pure, unadulterated fear.
Caption: Monsters and Mysteries. A cloudy sky, a huge bat in flight. Caption: Flying humanoid, Jersey Devil, Bat Squatch. A satellite image of the United States at night.
Along the northern edge of Missouri's Ozark Mountains, the Turkey Creek watershed. Thick woods, meandering streams, and a reputation for harboring a mysterious winged demon.
Turkey Creek, it's a place that's way out in the country. When you're out there, it just kind of feels eerie because it's dark and nothing around.
The dense woods we have in the mountain region of the Ozark Mountains, it's really a good place for mysterious activity and paranormal activity and stuff like that. I don't care what you're looking for, you probably find it in Missouri.
And every once in a while, in the Ozarks, an unknown flying fiend launches a shocking attack from the skies.
One element of the phenomenon that's very striking is the vulnerability that people feel because they're basically coming from high up in the air.
So, how are you and George?
We're really good.
People really don't look up in the sky much anymore. We've become focused on the here and now, what's in front of us.
Two girls in a car in the woods.
Did you hear that? Hear what?
The noise.
They look up and seem terrified.
And then they swoop down from the sky out of nowhere in a moment.
One of the girls, looking petrified, climbs onto the boot of the convertible. Caption: Flying humanoid.
Since the beginning of time, people have claimed to catch sight of flying monsters. Ones that go well beyond the size and behavior of ordinary birds.
I think the idea of winged, especially winged humanoids, patrolling the skies, able to swoop down at any moment, really, it touches us in a primitive place because you can't really protect yourself from death from above.
The canopy of a dense forest.
The big question is, are they flesh and blood or not? If they're flesh and blood, anything flesh and blood can die. However, if there's a supernatural or a paranormal aspect to what these things are, wherever they come from, then of course that's quite troubling.
A man sits on a rock.
Don Overton grew up in Nevada, Missouri. A small town close to Turkey Creek.
Missouri is very quiet, and you'd have to go out and search for things to do.
Boredom was never an issue for Don and his brother Dan. They were always looking for some kind of adventure. One July night in 1998, a plan was hatching for a trip into the dark woods of Turkey Creek.
Yep, the Cosgrove Farm, pretty scary place. Oh, and then there's Turkey Creek. Remember that place? Old Indian burial ground. They say there's something out there protecting the dead.
The reason why I wanted to go to Turkey Creek was there was a Indian burial ground close by that there was some reported mysterious activity happening there.
I don't want to go out there. People say there's some scary stuff out there.
Come on, let's take a look.
He smiles and nods.
All right, there you go. That's the spirit.
They were right to be wary. They'd barely make it out alive.
So we decided to get in a vehicle and take off and go check it out.
Reenactment of a car driving through dark woods.
We really didn't expect to find anything at this Turkey Creek area. When we pulled up, things started happening.
They park and look around.
It's plenty creepy out here, huh?
Yeah, it is.
There's something out here, man. I can feel it.
Nope, I cannot feel it.
My brother was a skeptic. He really didn't think too much about any mysterious happenings around.
There's nothing out here. I can't believe we're really out here looking for goo.
Shut up, man. Shut up. There's something out here.
There's nothing out here, brother.
An aerial view of the men's car.
And that's when the vehicle lifted off the ground.
What the?
Claws grip the car.
Some force started shaking our vehicle violently, and we were getting rocked around. It was something that had a great deal of power, a great deal of strength. It just felt like it was all around us.
When their car fell back on the road,
Go! Go, man! Go, 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 go!
they had a chance to escape.
They drive away at speed, pursued by a huge bat.
It was a very scary feeling not to be able to see this thing because you could feel it, coming behind you. The fear level was intensifying that it was going to catch us.
Where's that thing?
They speed through the woods.
They were driving on a treacherous, high-banked road.
It's behind us, man!
They round a bend and drive into the creature.
There it is! Watch out!
They swerve, crash into a tree and roll over.
They'd been looking for a bit of adventure. This monster had served one up.
I don't know how many times it rolled, but we were upside down when the vehicle came to rest. It felt like I was frozen in time for a moment.
Danny? Danny? Danny, talk to me, man!
Don had been wearing his seatbelt and escaped serious injury.
I can't get it.
His brother Danny wasn't so lucky.
My brother was very injured, very bad shape. He broke his neck and he wasn't responding.
Dan! Dan! Danny, I'm gonna go get help, all right?
Even though I was fearful of what was outside of the vehicle that could be out there, whatever it was out there that caused this, I was more fearful for my brother might die. So I climbed out the window and overcame that fear and went for help. It was a very rural area, so I had to run a very long way. Finally, I reached a house that would help me. I've never been so scared in my life.
What kind of creature could deliver such a devastating airborne assault?
The flying monster from Missouri tends to fit the mold of the so-called flying humanoids. There are a surprising number of accounts of these flying humanoids chasing cars at incredibly fast speeds, and also many accounts of them actually swooping down at people's windshields.
The top of the car, a vampire-like face.
A superhuman equipped with wings. And this flying fiend seems built for battle.
There's a malevolent nature to these creatures, and they seem to be very aggressive against us.
When you see this huge creature flying at you, the effect, I guess, on your mind And your being was the same thing if you saw a plane crash right in front of you, or a train appear in the middle of the road in front of you in the middle of the night for no reason. It was just that much of a shock. It was just that much of an impression on your mind that you'll never forget it.
Over the last 50 years, across the continental U.S., flying humanoids have been reported dozens of times.
Accounts of flying humanoids actually date back centuries to 900 BC. There are ancient mythologies and folklores all over the world that speak of these flying humanoid or winged humanoid types of beings.
Don and Danny Overton narrowly escaped death at the hands of a flying monster.
After the accident and my brother was on his way to the hospital, in the back of my mind I knew what had happened. I knew something horrible had tried to get us.
Despite the close call, Don still hoped to find answers about the attack. He'd get them 12 years later on a return trip to Turkey Creek.
We had no idea that we were going to experience what we did.
All of a sudden, in the woods behind me, the noise gets more and more intense. It's coming from the back of the woods, running directly towards us. And we're looking into darkness, and it's coming.
Dad, what's that? Run! Run! Run!
Caption: Monsters and Mysteries,